Budget debate continues this week. Bay State Bike Week is next week, and Governor Charlie Baker visits Hyannis. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, May 6th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mantle. Town Council will continue to debate the capital budget this week. Finance Director Mark Milne says there are 24 projects that still need to be voted on during this week's Town Council meeting.
We're going to start off with, continue with the Department of Public Works where we left off. And the first item on the agenda is $733,000 for fixing 4 private ways in town. And these are those private ways that are considered connector roads like Wakeby Road, Mary Dunn Road. So we'll start off right away with that one.
Great.
And there are a couple that are actually going to be pulled. The $352,000 for a beach stabilization system out at Sandy Neck. They're recommending that they pull that one because I think they're working on an alternative plan for the situation out there, so that item is going to be pulled from the agenda, as well as the phase 2 of the design and construction for the airport access road over on the east side of the airfield.
Interesting.
Yeah, so because that project, I believe, they're working with the community college to install a classroom facility out there, but that seems to have some delay. Cape Cod foresees is having some delay with the state as far as funding their portion of the program. So I believe they're pulling that one. The airport's pulling that one. So that leaves us with 24 items that we have to address Thursday night, and we'll see if we get through them all.
And Town Council meets Thursday night at 7 in the Town Hall hearing room. Bicycle safety takes center stage next week as Massachusetts residents celebrate Bay State Bike Week. President of the Cape and Islands chapter of Mass Bike, Rob Maselli, says bike safety begins with knowing the rules of the road and making sure you are comfortable.
You're riding along Route 28 and cars are passing you at 50 miles an hour and you're not comfortable, then you need to get off. If you're riding on a secondary roadway and there's a curb, and you're comfortable with that, then it's important for you to know that the chances of getting hit from behind are very, very, very low, less than 1%. Again, proper equipment, knowledge of where you're going, knowing the roads, knowing which road you're comfortable on and which road you should stay off of. Mass Bike has done a lot of work with the motor vehicle, registry of motor vehicles. So now when you take your exam for your permit or for your license, there's 50% of the questions are related to shared roads.
Excellent.
We moved from sharing the road to reinforcing the fact that all roads are shared. And in some cases, bicyclists have every right to use a complete lane, in roads that are less than 20 miles an hour that are marked.
For a list of local Bay State Bike Week events, you can visit baystatebikeweek.org/events. Finding affordable housing continues to be an issue for many Cape residents. Housing issues will be the focus of this year's Smarter Cape Summit being held today. To learn more, Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Colvin talked with Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce CEO Wendy Northcross. We share a portion of that interview with you now.
A little bit about Smarter Cape, Wendy.
Well, we're in the 5th year of producing a Cape-wide forum for discussion of topics that are really important or critical to the Cape's economy, its well-being, its lifestyle, and started 5 years ago when we were starting to build the Open Cape broadband backbone, and we felt the need to explain to everybody exactly what this broadband backbone meant, what it was going to help support in terms of new types of industry, how long it was going to take to build, how it was a backbone and not necessarily going, into every home, but would help major institutions, and businesses would now have a new option for very high-speed broadband, which you really need for pushing up data as well as pulling down data. So we, it's kind of a dry topic, but we had an amazing response. We had people from municipalities, from business, from county government, from state government. We actually had Deval Patrick that first year. And then we thought, this is a great conversation, but one of the things we learned was that we have to work together. We have to cross silos, and maybe there's some things that we can do on an ongoing basis. So the Smarter Cape Partnership was born, and we're still doing these summits.
And so this one in particular is geared towards taking a look at housing on Cape Cod, certainly a big issue. Can you talk to me a little bit about how that discussion is going to take place today?
Exactly. Where in the past we've had sort of a technical topic that we would use for our theme, this year we're really looking at the issue of housing and how we can make Cape Cod an affordable place for people, regular people who just work and want to live here. How do we make it a sustainable place? And so it's not necessarily affordable housing that we're talking about, but housing that regular people can afford. And there's some very interesting concepts that we're presenting today. And we've got speakers, national speakers, regional speakers. Of course, the governor is going to give closing remarks. But we're really trying to get people thinking about some new options. What do we have to offer beyond the single-family home on a 2-acre plot of land? What do younger consumers want, younger home buyers? What do they actually want? We're going to hear survey results from the young professionals. What are some of the regulatory barriers, and how can we change some of the regulations to enable some cool things to happen here? And who are the people working on some cool things like tiny houses and stacked houses? And, there's a whole movement of alternative living systems that are very interesting. So we've got a whole array of people that be in 30 to 45-minute segments. We're just going to get everybody kind of up to speed on what some of the new thinking is.
Excellent. So we look forward to hearing what comes out of those discussions. Wendy, I also wanted to touch on the annual meeting of the Cape Cod Chamber, and of course take place at Ocean Edge, and you have a new chair of your board of directors. Tell me a little bit about the annual meeting.
We did. We've had a busy week. So last night was our annual meeting, the 93rd annual meeting of the Chamber. This year we had a changing of the guard, if you will, and Matthew Lee, who's an attorney based in Centerville. He also has offices in Boston and London. He is our new chairman of the board, and the vice chairman is Olive Chase of the Casual Gourmet. Of course, she has a tremendous catering business that does events all across the Cape, but it's located in Centerville, Mass. So we were very, very proud to bring those two on to our executive committee. They were elected by the board to lead the board in the coming year, and we also elected some brand new directors, including Beth Marcus from Cape Cod Beer, Jeffrey Cutter from Falmouth from the Cutter Financial Group. We brought on Larry Drago from BizCheck's Payroll. Terry Ahern is joining us to represent Cape Cod Healthcare, and then Paul Schwartz from the Dockside Hotel Group. They have hotel properties in Yarmouth. They were all brand new on the board, and they were all elected last night. So we had a busy night.
Wonderful. And at the 93rd annual meeting, that really, says to me the tradition of the Chamber and the tradition of the Cape. And do you kind of take a look back at the year that was, and also kind of look at some of the goals for the coming year and coming season?
Absolutely. And our outgoing board chair, Gary Sheehan, and I presented kind of the tips of the waves, we called it. Here were some of the highlights of the last year, whether it was the renovation of the Chamber, building into a workspace that's going to allow more workshops and member gatherings and space for entrepreneurs, our work on drafting a vision for a blue economy, the new economy on Cape Cod, whether it's our networking. We did a lot of great networking events with the local chambers this year, or the destination marketing that we do to promote Cape Cod to visitors from all around the globe. So we just showed some examples of the work of the past year, and just took a moment to, celebrate a busy chamber and a busy place, and we're feeling pretty good about Cape Cod in the coming year.
The Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission meets tonight at 6:30. They're meeting in the Selectmen's Conference Room right here in Town Hall. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Town Council President Jessica Rapp-Grassetti. We'll have our weekly golf segment, plus we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.